Well, good afternoon. And if it's Monday at 3 o'clock, it's Mondays with Michael Live here on Facebook. Thank you all for joining. And if you're watching this post session, thanks for checking it out. As you know, with the last week and these next couple of weeks, we'll be doing a deeper dive on the 4 DiSC styles. The Everything DiSC model is probably our best-selling tool. A lot of our clients use it in a variety of environments: leadership development, team development, sales training, customer service training, team building. We use DiSC in quite a bit of different environments, and we thought we'd do a little deeper dive on each of the 4 styles. Last week we started with D. Got a lot of interesting feedback from the D video last week. A lot of D's chimed in, so it's interesting to see the feedback, so thanks for chiming in. Today we're going to do I. We're going to talk about I and do a little deeper dive on I. But before we do that, as always, we have a couple commercials. So our commercial this week is, first, thank you for everyone who came to the showcase we did last week. Wiley came into town and did a great showcase for us here in Tyson's. But I had a lot of clients that were interested in seeing that information and weren't able to come. So we'll be doing a webinar around the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. We'll do that on November 8th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll put a little link in the message here after the session so you can register for that. We'll send emails out accordingly. We'll also post this out on LinkedIn and Twitter, so you follow us there too. You'll see that information. So today's session is all around the I style, and we'll do it like we did last week. We'll do a general overview around the I, just some things to think about. And then we'll talk about the I from the perspective, if you have a team member who's I, if you have an employee that reports to you who's I, if your boss is I, and then if you have a customer or you're doing prospecting in sales and that prospect or customer's I, some things to think about. And then some tips for the I, some things to keep in mind if you are an I style. So let's go ahead and get started. So some general overviews about the I style. So the I style in the DiSC model, the right-hand quadrant, are folks who are very outgoing, very gregarious, very social, very talkative. They like to talk a lot, and I give you one guess on what they like to talk about most. They mostly like to talk about themselves. They can talk about themselves all day long. They can be emotional at times, tend to wear their hearts on their sleeves, very enthusiastic, very passionate folks in the organization. So let's talk about the I's a little deeper. So as a teammate, so if you have a high I who's a teammate on your team and you've identified this, what are some things that may be useful for you? So as I mentioned, I's as teammates are very passionate about their work. When communicating with them, it's going to be a longer conversation. When you communicate with somebody who's high I, no matter what part we're going to talk about here, the spectrum, I's like to chat and like to talk a lot. So you have to be prepared for a longer conversation. Unlike the D we talked about last week, which would be a short conversation, high I's are going to be a longer conversation because not only do they like to talk about work, they like to talk about everything else, and they will talk about everything else, and you need to prepare for that longer conversation. Talk about the weather, talk about the kids, talk about sports, talk about mutual interests. I's will talk, talk, talk. They are also very connected outside the organization and inside the organization. High I's on a team can help you connect with other departments within the organization, or they can help you with vendors outside the organization. Folks that are high I will also know who the best plumber is in town. They'll know everyone in their neighborhood by first name. High I's are just very social people. So if you have a high I that reports to you, you're the boss, and one of your direct reports is a high I. Remember, they like to be social, so I would encourage you to keep I's in groups. I would not put high I's to work by themselves alone in an office. I's are very social people. They need to work in groups. I would not put that person by themselves. They tend to want to be the center of attention and very talkative at meetings, so keep that in mind. You may have to control that a little bit. They also move from one to another topic pretty quickly. You need to kind of keep them focused on what's going on right now. So that's if you have an I who reports to you. If you have a boss who's a high I, so the person you report to is high I, remember, high I's are passionate about their work and can take things pretty personally, especially when they don't get their way. If you don't live up to their standard, they will definitely let you know about it. They're not shy about sharing their feelings. They can be very emotional and can get off the handle a little bit when they're upset, so keep that in mind if that's your boss. But can also be very compassionate when needed, when personal issues arise that are important to you. They're very compassionate people. They want to make sure you're feeling okay. And if there's something going on outside of work, they'll talk about it. They'll definitely want to talk about it with you. And it's good to know that they will let you talk about it with them. Now, if you have a high I who's a current customer or a prospect, keep in mind, as we talked about earlier, they like to talk, right? So make sure that when you're calling on a prospect or dealing with a customer who's II, like I do, I know they like to talk. As we mentioned earlier, this is not going to be a short conversation. So when I get an I customer on the phone, we start talking and I book a lot of time because it's going to be a longer conversation. How are you? How's the family? How's the team? How's the organization? How did the training class go? I have a whole series of questions because they really want to talk. They're also into the latest new thing. I mean, your friends who are II probably want the latest iPhone or the latest Android because they want the newest thing. They want the new thing. So if you have something new that no one else has or is very new on the market, they want to hear about it because they really like the new thing and they want to be part of the new thing. They also love to go to conferences and events and to meet other people. We tend to invite our high I clients to showcases, and if we're at ATD Nationals Conference, we'll invite them to the vendor booth where Wiley is, and we'll meet them at the conference because they like to be around folks. So that's if a customer is either a customer or prospect is high I. Now, some things to keep in mind if you are high I. If you're listening to this today and you're high I, some tips for you. First, not everyone is as talkative as you are, so keep that in mind. Try not to be over-emotional over situations. Things may not go your way from time to time, and that's okay. Try not to get over-emotional. I'm telling you now, and you need to look around your office, but your desk and workspace may need regular attention. High I's that I coach have their stuff all over the place. So make sure you clean your office once in a while and keep focused on what's important. Make sure you put the needs of others before the needs of yourself from time to time, especially if you're a high I boss. You need to make sure that the needs of others come before you from time to time. Even if you're on a team, other teammates need to come before you from time to time. Not everyone is as social as you, so make sure you balance that with the needs of the business. So balance out the needs of social with the needs of the business. So I do get asked this question fairly regularly when I teach the class. Why is I the small letter and D, S, and C are uppercase and I is lowercase? And I'd be happy to tell you that it's some type of research, validation, normative study, history, and it has to do nothing with that. The reason why the I is small is because Carlson Learning Company back in the 70s wanted to brand their DiSC product, which is public domain, differently than the other DiSC products on the market. So Carlson Learning, eventually Inkscape Learning, and now Wiley Publishing have kept the lowercase I. So that is the only reason why the I is lowercase. It doesn't mean anything else other than it's just a marketing thing. So I do have I's from time to time. A little worried about why their I is a little lower. That's the reason why. So that is just some tips for you around the I style. If you're working with an I, or report to an I, or an I reports to you, some tips around that. Next week, we're going to go through the DiSC model. The next letter up is letter S, steadiness. So again, we're going to take a deeper dive from these 4 perspectives. We'll get some general overview of the S style. We'll go through the 4 different areas we just went through today. And then I'm going to give some tips for the S style to keep in mind, some things you need to think about moving forward. Again, just a quick update on the commercial we gave earlier, November 8th, 3 o'clock. We'll do our deeper dive of the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team. I'll put that in here in the chat in a few minutes. For those of you who watch this post session, thanks for hanging out. Mondays with Michael live here on Facebook. If you want to get these alerts in Facebook, come find me on Facebook. Friend me on Facebook, and you'll get these alerts as we do them all the time. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next Monday here, 3 o'clock, Mondays with Michael live on Facebook. Have a great day.